The Intercity Express, or ICE, is Germany's flagship train, sleek, white, and built for speed. Yet many passengers wonder if it's a high-speed train, why doesn't it always feel like one? To see how that came to be, we have to look back at the beginnings of high-speed rail in Germany, when the ICE first became a symbol of national ambition. High-speed rail in Germany began in the optimism of the early 1990s, a time of reunification, engineering pride, and bold ideas. On May 29, 1991, the first ICEs entered service with an inaugural run, trains departing simultaneously from Bonn, Hamburg, Mainz, Stuttgart, and Munich, all converging on the new Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe station. It was a national event and the start of Germany's high-speed era. The first generation of ICE trains soon gave way to the refined ICE-2, and then to the ICE-3, engineered for 330 km per hour. A statement that Germany could stand beside Japan's Shinkansen and the French TGV. Tests proved it. In 1988, the experimental ICE-V reached almost 407 km per hour, and in 2025, its successor, the ICE-S, again broke the 400 km per hour barrier. Spectacular numbers, yet in everyday service, passengers rarely experience anything close. Germany has 1,489 kilometers of high-speed railway. Impressive on paper. But only parts of it allow the ICE to reach its full potential. The trains are fast, but the network keeps them slow. Those constraints have been built into the system's DNA from the very beginning. Unlike Italy or Spain, which constructed dedicated passenger-only lines, Germany integrated new sections into its existing rail system. That meant ICE trains would share tracks with regional and freight services, make more stops, and operate on a timetable designed for nationwide connections. It was an inclusive and cost-efficient model, but it came with trade-offs that still define travel today. Germany's ICE network became a patchwork of different types of railway lines. Some were upgraded sections of older routes, others were newly built. A few allow top speeds of 300 km per hour, while most are capped at 280 or 250. There was never a consistent national strategy. Each project became a compromise between ambition, geography, and politics. That's how rather strange things happened. One example sits on the Cologne-Frankfurt line. It was meant to provide a fast, direct link between two major cities. Yet the small towns of Montabaur and Limburg, just 20 kilometers apart, each received ICE stations after state-level politicians lobbied for inclusion. Critics called it politics over performance. Supporters said it brought opportunity to the region. Either way, it shows how the vision behind the ICE network often meets the reality of local interests. At the same time, with passenger, regional, and freight trains all using the same corridors, a delay can ripple across the entire network. And the numbers tell the story. In September 2025, only 55.3% of Deutsche Bahn's long-distance trains, the ICE and IC fleet, arrived within 6 minutes of schedule. That's DB's measure of operational punctuality. So almost half of all long-distance trains in Germany ran late. Not because the trains are slow, but because the system around them is. The network is overloaded, its infrastructure aging, and constant maintenance keeps timetables on a knife edge. Even Deutsche Bahn's newest trains reflect the contradictions in Germany's railway system. The ICE4 is certified for 250 km per hour and designed to maximize seating capacity. At the same time, DB is rolling out the ICE3 Neo, capable of more than 300 km per hour. Together, they make it seem like DB still hasn't fully decided what the future of the ICE should look like. There is, however, one exception in the German railway network, a route that shows what high-speed travel in Germany could look like, but what was never achieved on a larger scale. On the aforementioned Cologne-Frankfurt line, ICEs routinely reach 300 km per hour, and the trains don't have to mingle with regional or freight services. That separation made something extraordinary possible. The ICE replaced domestic flights on this route entirely. It's hard to believe, given the short distance, but until October 2007, Lufthansa still operated flights between Frankfurt and Cologne. Rail overtook air, and today Lufthansa even cooperates with Deutsche Bahn through its express rail program. When the infrastructure allows, the ICE delivers. But even as the network lags behind, Deutsche Bahn keeps investing in new trains. The ICE3 Neo fleet is expanding rapidly, with 90 units on order and more than 30 already in service. They add capacity where it's needed most and are equipped for international routes. This December will also see the debut of the ICE-L, built by Talgo, featuring low-floor boarding for step-free access and a new interior design that marks the next step in DB's long-distance modernization. So there is real progress on the train side, but when it comes to infrastructure, it's a different story. Take the Frankfurt-Mannheim line, for example. Designed for trains running up to 300 km per hour, it would close one of the biggest bottlenecks in the network. Yet it remains stuck in development more than 30 years after the first concepts appeared. That's not unusual in Germany. Major rail projects face years of consultation, environmental review, and sometimes legal battles. It's part of the democratic process, making sure everyone has a voice. But it also means new lines can take decades to deliver. And it's not just about making one route faster. These projects are the backbone of the Deutschlandtakt, Germany's plan for a fully coordinated national timetable. The goal isn't only speed, but reliability and smooth, well-timed connections that link ICEs with regional and local trains across the country. If Deutsche Bahn can deliver both the new infrastructure and the trains to run on it, rail travel could become a more reliable, convenient alternative to driving or flying on even more routes across Germany. But can Deutsche Bahn make it happen? Since October 2025, Deutsche Bahn has a new CEO, tasked with leading a fundamental transformation of the company. Evelyn Palla. She's from South Tyrol in northern Italy, worked at Austria's ÖBB, one of Europe's most respected railway operators, and even holds a train driver's license. Later, she led DB Regio, Deutsche Bahn's regional subsidiary, the most punctual part of the entire company. Now she's facing her biggest task yet, reshaping a system that has been stuck in crisis for years. In Berlin, she called for a new start. She aims to streamline Deutsche Bahn, cutting back on side ventures and concentrating on passenger service. Her plan is to move decision-making away from the headquarters and closer to ground operations. It will also mean a significant reduction in management roles, though Palla hasn't yet disclosed how many. Reforming such a vast organization is a long process. It won't happen overnight, Palla said. But for the first time in years, it's not about managing the decline of what was once Germany's pride. It's about major changes inside the company itself.